Hello again, everyone. Marcus here. I review stuff today. I'm reviewing the song Calm Like You by the Last Shadow Puppets. As usual, this song comes to you as a request from one of my viewers. So if you want to get your song reviewed, just do what they did. Leave it in the comments, and I'll be sure to add it to my list. And so I've heard maybe 3 songs from the Last Shadow Puppets so far, and I've got to say I've really enjoyed every single one that I've heard. I know that it's Alex Turner of Arctic Monkeys, kind of his side project, right? So yeah, I've really enjoyed what I've heard so far, and kind of hoping that this one holds up to that as well. So with all that said, let's go ahead and jump right in. Again, this is Calm Like You, the Last Shadow Puppets. Here we go.
I can still remember when your city smelt exciting. I still get a whiff of valley aroma now and then. Burglary and fireworks, the skies they were alighting. Accidents and toffee drops and thinking on the train. Oh, he was young in the frost, no regard for the cost of saying his feelings in the moments they were felt. And if he was calm like you, locked up inside of your loops, then he'd know full well that all he had to say was goodbye. Sometime made promises it knew it couldn't keep. The fairy tale was climbing up a mountain far too steep. Coloring the pictures with your loyal hands. Now I am craving heartbreak while you're making your demands. Oh, he was young in the frost, no regard for the cost of saying his feelings in the moment they were felt. And if he was calm like you, locked up inside your loops, then he'd know full well that all he had to say was goodbye. If he was calm like you, locked up inside your loops, then he'd know full well that all he had to say was goodbye.
Yeah, honestly, I'd say that was another good one from the Last Shadow Puppets. It was it's interesting because I have actually been listening to like the Arctic Monkeys a lot lately. I just really like their fast-paced style. Their sort of rock and roll. I love that side of them, and so to kind of get this instead from obviously a different band, it takes us a little bit to get used to for me. I think because again I'm hearing Alex Turner in both. But in one, I'm like, yeah, fast-paced rock and roll. This is fun. And in this one, it's like, okay, this is a little bit more subdued. He kind of takes it back a little bit. But I liked it. I liked it. So let's break it down piece by piece like we always do. Of course, starting with those lyrics. I do want to read this about section here, though. It says, telling the story of a young, vivid summer love, Calm Like You, is the third track on the Last Shadow Puppets debut record, The Age of the Understatement. As with many other tracks on the album, string arrangements were made by Owen Pallett, and the track followed up with the album's theme of a young romance wreaking havoc upon both of their lives. Let's take a look at those lyrics and see if we kind of read the same thing in this one. So here we go. I can still remember when your city smelt exciting. I still get a whiff of that aroma now and then. Burglary and fireworks, the skies they were alighting. Accidents and toffee drops and thinking on the train. Oh, he was young in the frost, no regard for the cost of saying his feelings in the moments they were felt, and if he was calm like you, locked up inside of your loops, then he'd know full well that all he had to say was goodbye. Yeah, I really like this first part because I feel like I've been there, right? Where like you really like somebody, maybe you're visiting them in a different city or something, right? and it's almost like you can remember the smell of the city reminds you of like that person, you know, like driving up to the city even reminds you of that person, right? And so it's like um, this sort of idea that like yeah, it sort of everything reminds you of them. um, and then again, kind of a young love, right? He was young in the frost, no regard for the cost of saying his feelings. So again, not really being young and not really shy and not really worried about what he says and how that might come off, and just diving headfirst into it, you know. Um, so summertime made promises it knew it couldn't keep. The fairy tale was climbing up a mountain far too steep, coloring the pictures with your royal hands. Now I am craving heartbreak while you're making your demands. So again, it maybe that relationship again, the way it sounds here is that it kind of it went up maybe a little bit too fast, right? Like it made promises it couldn't keep, and the fairy tale was climbing up a mountain far too steep. So it was kind of going too fast, or maybe going in a direction that wasn't sustainable. Um, and it's interesting because he says, "Now I'm craving heartbreak." So it's like the relationship has gotten so miserable that it's like I want to break up. I want to be to be miserable elsewhere than in the relationship that I'm in. Oh, he was young in the frost, no regard for the cost of saying his feelings in the moment they were felt. And if he was calm like you, locked up inside of your loops, then he know full well that all he had to say was goodbye. If he was calm like you, locked up inside of your loops, then he know full well that all he had to say was goodbye. Yeah, I think lyrically, I think it's well written here. It again, I feel like I was able to kind of follow it, but there's enough that I can almost put my own interpretation on it, but I think it is telling like a pretty coherent and cohesive story from start to finish. Again, that sort of young love that fizzles out way too quickly. Um, and as I was reading through it, I think I feel the same way about some Arctic Monkey songs too. Is that like it is sort of lyrically dense, being only a almost 2.5 minute song. Like the lyricism is something that you kind of have to read through and really appreciate and understand. So, I mean, I thought it was really well written here. I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up for the lyricism. As far as instrumentation and vocals go, I love how at the beginning of the song it kind of faded in with the bass. The string arrangements I thought were good. Again, it's a different feel than something like Arctic Monkeys, and I have to kind of rewire that in my head a little bit. But for what it is, I really enjoy it. It has this sort of old school style to it. I feel like it reminds me of something out of like a noir or like something that you would listen to like in a shady diner somewhere after being broken up with, that kind of thing. So yeah, it has that feel to it, and I really appreciate it about that. I love Alex Turner's voice here, the sort of crooning style that he brings to this song. I think works really well for me. So overall, instrumentally, vocally, really like this one. I'm going to give it a thumb up for that. And then as far as replay value goes, I think this one makes the playlist. It's one of those that I feel like it was maybe a little bit too slow for me. Again, this is maybe just my brain saying like I want Arctic Monkeys, like fast paced, fun stuff. Which there's time and place for that, but I just feel like this was one of those that was maybe to me a little too subdued. I think I would have liked a little bit more energy behind the song, but regardless, again, it was still solid. So I'm going to give it a thumb up there as well. Again, overall, fantastic song and a great request. Thank you so much for the person who requested this one. As always, if you enjoyed the music, go support the artists. Go listen to their music wherever you can. Of course, you can support me if you'd like. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, just like and subscribe, comment, the stuff that you normally do for your favorite YouTube channels. And lastly, if you'd like to see more from me, you can check the description to follow me on Twitch, TikTok, or Instagram. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.